Hello, Dan. Hello, Dad. Hello, Dan Does Junk, and everyone else who is going to be here later on. Hi, my name is Odin Makes, and welcome to the Sunday Odin Makes live stream. Right now, the first little bit of this live stream, for those of you who are watching in the future, is going to be set aside for members of my Discord, members of my Patreon. This is a little quiet time just for me and them in order to keep the chat a little easier to hear on my end. And, when I manage to look at it. It's just me today, or at least it probably will only just be me today. I never contacted Felicia because I completely forgot. So it's not her fault that she's not here, and we came to an agreement that I would let her know when I was going to live stream, so she knew when would be a good time to show up versus showing up to nobody being here. So I didn't contact her because I was at a con yesterday, and I'm still flipping tired. And it was a little con, but it was an awesome con. Yesterday I went to Novacon. It was their first inaugural ever con for Brentwood, California. Brentwood, California's premier pop culture and fan celebration. It was pretty cool. I've been to a few smaller cons, and I've been to a few first year, second year, seventh year cons. And Novacon hit it out of the park. This was a pretty big extravaganza that they managed to pull together. What all they did was it was outside, which at first had me a little concerned, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Novacon was in Brentwood City Park, which was right behind the new Brentwood City City Hall, which is only like 15 years old now, so it's fairly new as far as city halls go, especially in an established community. They had the whole park lined with pop-up tents with vendors and activities and cosplayers. They had 4 different actors and voice actors from different things that actually showed up to the con. I mean, this is a first year con, and to pull in 4, were they top of the line? No, but they weren't nobodies either. I mean, you've got one of the warriors from Black Panther, and she was also in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, especially in the hotel fight room, right? So she's been a reoccurring character and has done voice acting for the games and has done a number of other characters, including South Park characters. They had the guy that does Tough Nut from How to Train Your Dragon. They had, I think his name was Casey Douglas, whose list of voice acting that he's got on his IMDb is insane. It goes back for pages, which a lot of voice actors do because, you get a lot of parts, but he's been in everything you can think of. It's Jedi Fallen Order. It does all sorts of things. And then the fourth person, who also I'm not remembering, but also wasn't, pardon the phrase, a slouch. Thank you, soda. That was not in relation to the other guests they had. It was awesome because they had a stage set up. It was an outdoor venue. We were just to the left of the stage from the audience's point of view, which was great because we were in a good shaded area. It was bad because we're right next to the PA speaker, but we were in the shade, so it was good. So we got to hear the full panel of these voice actors talking about what it's like to work in the industry, what it's like to work for Disney, what it's like to work for Marvel, what it was like on set doing different things, how interesting it is to, in the more modern aspects of being a voice actor, where you're doing it at home, right? You'll either go to, like for Disney, you'll go to a studio that's secure, that has the sound engineers and everything, but it's just you, and then maybe a Zoom call or other live tie-in call with your director. But then smaller productions, it was just them in like a home studio, again with no, maybe they should have feedback coming from the directors, but there's no acting off of another. There wasn't a roundtable. It wasn't a full cast audio recording, which some productions do. And when you do that, it allows for ad-libbing, and it allows for much more natural interaction between the characters. But depending on what the production is, and depending on what they need to get done, that element may sound silly, may not be necessary. But it was cool hearing all this from them and hearing it from their point of view, and hearing about how hard it is, heckin' hard it is to get into that particular business and get that work, and how often you get told no, and how important it is to remember as an aspiring person doing voice acting or even on-screen acting, that when you get told no, it isn't because you're bad. It's because they had a different vision that you didn't fit, if that makes any sense. So it wasn't like they had done something wrong or they were flawed. It was just they didn't fit the look or the feel or even the preconceived notion that the director had for what the character was. And so they just looked for somebody else. And it wasn't anything personal. And a lot of them also said that the weirdest thing is even a yes feels like a no because of how long it takes to get the response. There were times that they would apply for a part, audition, I guess is what you're doing for a part, and they wouldn't hear anything for like a month and a half. And at that point, I would assume, well, that's not going to happen. Move it on. And then all of a sudden they get this phone call, hey, we really want you to do it. It's like, what? Even if that means that they were the fourth choice, but the best out of the top three because they weren't available, who cares? They got the part. So the whole idea was, don't worry about getting a no. It's not you. And even if you don't hear from them, something could come up. And then, it just so that was really cool. And they had a panel with, of course, a bunch of cosplayers, which again was really fun to hear. Oh, the other best part about all the voice actors, right? All the actors and voice actors, especially with the current state that every big budget production ever is. The big question always comes up, hey, and what can you tell us that you're working on next? And they all said the same thing. I signed an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement, and that means I can't talk about what I'm working on until it comes out. And that is extremely common for any kind of bigger value production. Now, on the contrary, which is kind of fun, you'll get smaller productions that feel like they're established and what they're doing isn't a problem. Big thing with NDA is somebody else doesn't come along, steal the thunder, make something faster and get it out first, and then it feels like your movie, which even started years before, is now copying this other schlocky thing. But I've been with some smaller productions that they didn't worry about that as much. That they figured any kind of online buzz was good, and so they didn't worry about it. It's like, yeah, great, that's fine. Let them know you're working on this. But for the most part, if you're working in that kind of a business, you're signing what's called the non-disclosure agreement, the NDA, and you're not allowed to talk about what's coming up. However, all the cosplayers are happy to plug all the conventions they're going to next, and a lot of them are happy to talk about what cosplay they're putting together for the convention next. But even that is something that people will be a little playing their cards close to their chest, is a great way to put it, about what their big cosplay coming up for exactly the same reason. You don't want to show up and you're not the only Charizard there, or you're not the only Valkyrie / Charizard crossover there. Just making stuff up. Which, fine. Are there cosplays I have interest in that I've never talked about publicly? Yeah. There's a couple of them that I have that I'm interested in that I've never really named publicly. Most of them are obscure or weird or done in a funky way that catches my attention. And I still on occasion look and don't see them that often, which makes me not want to talk about it because I don't want to come in late to the game, even though this is a cosplay I've been thinking about for years. So I get questions like, what cosplay do you want to do? If you could do anything, what's your dream cosplay that you've always wanted to do that you never talked about? The back of my mind goes, yeah, I'm not going to talk about that one. And so I pull out something else. And one of the other ones that is kind of true that would be fun that I remembered to talk about at the con when somebody was asking me this was what would be a really cool cosplay for me to build that I think is neat. That would be the giant samurai from the old Terry Gilliam movie Brazil. This was a kaiju-sized samurai whose scale mail armor was made out of circuitry boards. And all the other like bamboo pieces were chrome, I think, or metal of some sort. And then having, some small little Jonathan Pryce in a Icarius suit, figurine like dangling like, off of a string or something. I think that would be cool, right? That would be neat to me. It would be a deep dive cosplay that would go over great at Dragon Con, but would probably go over a lot of heads most everywhere else. Like C2E2, New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, and WonderCon are all ones I've been to that I think that cosplay would work at, that people would understand. But Dragon Con is, I can't believe I've been to all those. And Dragon Con is one that absolutely, that would be the right thing to wear there, because bizarre, one-off, that was a sight gag. That was a nightmare in the movie. He wasn't a major character. He didn't keep coming back other than maybe like one or two dreams. It wasn't an important part of the story. It was an important part of the character development. So it isn't like, it isn't the samurai movie, so yeah, anyway, that would be something fun. Am I going to do it? Yeah, probably not. But it's a good one to talk about because it gives me something to talk about. And it hides, which I'm still hiding, one of the ones that I do have interest in doing that I don't really want to talk about publicly. Other than that, Novacon, they had food trucks. They had live musicians with questionable talent. They had live musicians who were freaking good. The group, the solo, The Voice is what she called herself. The woman who closed out the show. That was a good performance. Was it? It was. Yeah, it was interactive. It had. It was a good performance, especially for a small venue. Yeah. Do I have any complaints about being outside? Well, it was hot, but it wasn't terribly hot. But it was hot. Oh, it was cool. AmpGuard was there, right? They had the whole day. Because it's in the middle of a park, and so all the things are surrounding the park, and they closed the street across the street, and that was a bunch of food trucks. So the center of the park was open. You had the stage in one kind of corner and the seating they had, and they had this big open space over here. And AmpGuard was there beating the snot out of each other all day and doing a lot of demos and workshops with young children who were running around and beating each other up with foam swords. And that was going on all day. It was really, really well thought out. They had a lot of swag. They had made a lot of Novacon stuff. I didn't bring it out here, but I got a gift bag, literal, with a dye sublimation or similar print on it that's got a really good Novacon logo. They give us mugs. They give us stamped painted enamel pins. Yeah, it was just looking at this, it's like, this is your first con. How did you pull all this off? Anyway, that was cool. Yeah, I've been to other cons that have been trying to do similar and are more out of pocket as far as money, like paying for it out of pocket, and realizing now that out of pocket is a negative, slang term. But the guys are paying for it out of their pockets instead of whatever it was that Novacon managed to pull together. So, of course, they don't have all that stuff. Absolutely, if you guys can get yourself a cryptid, get a cryptid. Having a cryptid handy is great. All right, so, they had all these VIP gift bags. I've seen VIP gift bags before, and they're usually plastic, right? Or that weird, meshy shopping bag. Anyway, no, it's a cotton bag. It feels like it's a dye sublimation print. It doesn't seem like that's it. There's an ever so slightly different feel to the print area than the rest of the cotton. So it could be some sort of heat transfer dye sublimation hybrid thing that I'm not aware of. But anyway, really, they have got themselves ceramic mugs, which again, these are things that I know you can do if you can get a hold of companies to do it. But the fact that they had the forward planning to order this stuff, to go with an overall theme of they had this 8-bit, or more like 8-bit, I guess, video game theme for like their posters and a lot of other stuff. Do I have a? No, I don't. Nope, it was still on. There we go. I'm waiting for it to quit jiggling. It's not going to. Sorry, the camera's wiggling still. It's on the. There we go. Right, and then this is raised, which I'm not even sure how that's done. Right, not a big deal. It doesn't matter, but it's still kind of interesting to me that the text on this actually is dimensional, for lack of a better term. There, I can kind of catch the light. I can kind of see the highlight change on the edges of the hearts. So it's neat. Why is it called Novacon X? I don't know, because it's not the 10th Novacon. I assume that's an X like Hugs and Kisses. Then they have their Novacon. This is the this is the stamped and paint enamel pens, right? Which is cool. I like these. I like the baked enamel pins, more because I'm old school. But I understand that these are actually more cost effective for getting pins made. And then and then they've got themselves the silicone bracelets, Novacon 25, and this resin cast keychain. So it's a keychain, but again, it's got gray on the back, and your 8-bit Novacon X. It's not 10, 2025. I don't know. I like swag and gift things, and it was awesome that the con gave us a gift bag with 2 of everything. We got 1 bag, but we got 2 of everything else. Me and Shop Gremlin. Still, just amazed. I was expecting to go out to. I've been to small cons that are in their 7th year that didn't have half their shit together that Novacons had put together. So yeah, am I going to go in next year? Absolutely. I'll absolutely go to Novacon again next year. Hopefully I'll get a different spot that still has shade that's further away from the speaker, because that is 100% the only complaint I had. It was outdoors, so it was dog friendly, right? And it was neat, and it was busy. It ran from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., which was good because it was hot, but we didn't end when it was hot. It had a chance to cool down. You had a chance for the later night. The last act had a video element, and of course they pass out glow sticks, and then the whole thing ends up with LED fire dancers, right? So instead of I've seen a lot of fire dancers dancing with real fire, swinging things around and fire whips and everything else, but these performers had LED balls and fiber optic whips and things like that they were dancing with. It was still very cool, and that wouldn't work in the daylight. So I can appreciate why they wanted it to run till 9 p.m., which felt late for me because I'm used to cons ending at 7. But still, it was fine. And I sat there all day and in the booth because it's outside, which is great. Putting together, did a body form, kind of like what Felicia did a few years ago, where it was a saran wrap and duct tape body form off of her body form, but you can do it off of yourself, or with help you can do it off of yourself. So Shop Grumman and I did that a couple of weeks ago, and I finally had all the pieces cut out, and so I sat there and was assembling the body form, which was pretty cool, which will help Shop Gremlin with making up cosplays that they want to work on. So, did Novacon yesterday. Freaking tired! Because then you drive home, and then you unpack, and then there's that little bit of, mental unwind downtime. I don't know about you, I can't always just go straight to bed. I didn't doom scroll for hours, but I was up for another 45 minutes or so after everything was finished before I actually completely went to bed. Yeah, so I'm tired. And then I'm also tired because this week, for my day job, I flew down to LA to do video testimonials for for my work for working with DIR. And that was fly in on one day and then set up early morning day two and interview 4 people and then pack everything up and drive over to Long Beach, which really wasn't that far, but it's a gamble in LA. Anything that should be 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes where you live is 2 hours in LA. So we didn't know what the travel time was going to be. We made it in like 45 minutes. So we got over and got set up in the Long Beach location, and the people doubled. It was only going to be 2 people. It ended up being 4 people. And I swear, the 2 people they pulled in like last minute, one guy was fabulous. I remember looking at Omar, I think his name was, and it's like, dude, we're going to call on you again. Hope you're okay with that, because he just came in. And it's like, hey, and it was like, wow, he was on, he could speak, he was speaking in a way that felt more natural. He wasn't over-the-top DJ, but he also wasn't an executive or an engineer that was reading what's on the words and waiting for the next line to come up. So it was great working with him. So yeah, that was fun. But then you do that towards the end of the workday, and the flights out of the Long Beach airport, there's only a couple of direct flights that go from Long Beach back to Sacramento. That's nonstop, right? And once you start getting into, I'm gonna have to fly to Colorado before I can come back to Sacramento, going from Long Beach, it actually takes longer to fly than it does to drive. And it's not a short drive; it's a 7-hour drive. So, yeah, spent the night, caught the first one out the next morning. So you end up being 3 days on the road to get these things, and tired. Anyway, thank you for listening to me rant. What have I got going on? Oh, let me zoom in because that's nice and tiny. I can't see it. Oh, that hit down to 70. Oh, I went the wrong way. Oh, come on, computer. There we go. There we go. We're going to pop out chat. We're going to live chat. And we're going to catch up on what all you fine people were saying while I was ranting on and on and on. Alrighty. Will Counters is here. Was here, still is here as soon as I soon. If they do it again, I may attend. Right on, Dan. No, yeah, please. Hello, Marvel Guy. Schultz Division music video is out. That's awesome. Didn't know that. Tom Holland apparently just showed himself in public, greeting fans wearing the new Spider-Man suit for the new Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's what it's being called, right? Everyone was going crazy and getting hyped, also taking notes for the cosplay. Okay, it's all speculation as far as I know, but I'm excited about what I've heard about Spider-Man Brand New Day, because when Spider-Man came into the MCU, he was immediately drafted to be, a little more than a bench warmer for the Avengers, and then had interstellar adventures with, Doctor Strange and Titans and all these things that are way more than Spidey was originally. Not a problem. Great movie, great character. Enjoyed everything Spider-Man that had to do with MCU. At the end of the last Spider-Man movie, not a bit of a spoiler alert, but Doctor Strange set something up so everybody forgot who he was, right? Reasons, but anyway, everybody forgot who Spider-Man was. So with the new movie coming out, he's back to being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's back to being, he remembers, right? He didn't forget. Everyone else did. So he's not a rock star superhero anymore. He's the, he's the Spider-Man that we know from the comics, where some people know him, some people don't. The newspapers hate him, probably. The police may not like him, probably. I don't know. This is all speculation. But the idea is that we're going to have a street-based instead of global, hopping based Spider-Man story, and I believe Punisher is going to be appearing in it, which is great because that's where Punisher came from. If I remember correctly, please guys correct me if I'm wrong, it was a 1970s Spider-Man comic issue that was the introduction to the Punisher. So it's cool that that's coming back, and all these other things that Spider-Man can interact with just in New York. So looking forward to that movie. You want to see Odin as Galactus? Cool factor off the charts. Thank you, Schultz Division. I'm Galactus after Ate the Planet. Yeah, I enjoy seeing everyone's take on the same cosplay, definitely. Dan Does Junk says that, especially mashups. I really get a kick out of the creativity that goes into mashup cosplay. Mariah's here. Hello, Mariah. Mariah was there, too. Saw them at Novacon. Dropping in. Remember this time, be right back, still working. All right, Ad Vixen, thank you for not sleeping through it. I'm going to sleep through it. Is it a heat-resistant resin print? I saw something about that recently. Could be. On the mug, it could be. I don't know. Nova, Johnny 5 no disassemble. Right. Speaking of raised details, have you ever heard of the Eufy UV printer? Yes, Marvel Guy. I think somebody else was talking about that. And that's pretty cool. I haven't seen it. I know it's a $1,000 UV printer. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it retails for $1,000. Not something I can afford at the moment. But it looks really cool. Steve D, sounds like a good con. It was! And it was free admission! How does a con sustain itself? I mean, I get it. I've been to other cons that have free admission. And that's cool, because that's accessible. But you could park in the City Hall parking lot, which was free, and right there. And then getting into the con itself, it was the park, which makes sense. How are you going to regulate your way into the park? Put a fence all the way around it? Yes. But, you know, they didn't. And so it was a free con. It was an outdoor festival type of a thing. It was really cool. Grounded Spider-Man is going to be sick. Yeah, it is. That's the thing that I've heard rumors from Marvel and a few other places, that it is going to be a more grounded Spider-Man, and I'm totally excited for that idea. Secret Wars ruined it. The idea Nick Fury is that much of a jerk to leave the kid Tony protected from Scorpion like that, messed up. Ad Vixen, I remember reading the first Secret Wars as a comic back in the 80s, and I actually found out about that comic issue 2 or 3, so I was able to read them as they came out. I remember waiting for each issue to come out so I could read the Secret Wars. And the main thing I remember is somebody dropping a mountain on all the heroes, and Hulk is holding up a portion of the mountain, so the heroes have a pocket of air to recover in and get out of their predicament. That's the main thing I remember. And then, of course, you get the black suit. That's where the symbiote suit for Spider-Man comes from, is the original Secret Wars miniseries from 83 or 4 or whatever it was. Later on, that became Venom. It wasn't immediately Venom. It was just a symbiote suit. But, you know, it was the new Black Spider-Man. And it was a touted as a bold move on Marvel to redesign such an iconic superhero, to go from the blue and red with web pattern spider suit to the solid black with the white, basically what we know as Venom. That was just the black Spidey suit. And it was this organic alien symbiote. It was always that, but it wasn't Venom. That didn't come about till a little bit later. Dan's working on a toilet during the live stream, so Schultz Division's pointing out he's getting a royal flush. Feel free to, yeah. Dan, your project and my project right now, as far as being on a live stream, not a whole lot different. I'm also kind of working in the toilet right now. No, I don't know. I'm doing fine. So, what's different this week than, say, the special Discord-only live stream that I had last week? Well, today, I was hoping Felicia was going to make it, but I failed to contact her. Why? Because I was in LA, I was asleep, and then I was in Brentwood, California, and I woke up this morning and went, oh, hell, I never gave her warning. Well, let's see if she showed up. Nope, she didn't. So, okay, I didn't contact her. No fault on her. I hope she's enjoying her Sunday. So there's no Felicia. Otherwise, Been working on the Proton Packs and want to get more done. What specifically can I get done today? I think it's pretty much getting the secondary motherboards attached to the Alice packs, which really isn't a whole lot. There's a little bit of work involved with that. I'm looking at the time. And I'm going to try and find the last sticker that goes on the motherboard, and I put that on, because that goes up high, I think. I have to look. I hope I didn't put the stuff in it. Now, I know most everyone I'm talking to here was with me last week when I was working on this. So this week is going to be kind of a rehash of the same thing. I'll jump into that in just a second. I am delaying for the 12 o'clock hour, so we'll have interaction from some live people. Even though most of the live people are going to be here at 12, have already watched the playback from last week. But whatever, it's TV. We'll do a recap. Yeah. So hopefully, fairly quickly, I will have the new secondary motherboard piece attached to the Alice packs to a point where all we really need to do is get the connection between the two to happen. And at this point in time, while these could still work, at this point in time, I'm not sure. By the way, I don't have hinges here, so that's not something I can do today, unfortunately. Same, see above, tired and away from everything for too long. I've still got these guys, and double punch. I've still got these guys, and these are those push button release thingies that I remember seeing somebody talk about a couple years ago, and I thought was a really cool idea. And a few other people thought they were a cool idea, but it's this bolt that's probably 1/4 from the way it looks, meaning it's a 1/4 inch wide and 20 threads per inch. But because we're America, so we're going to use inches still. But it has this rounded kind of ball button head that this part fits onto, and I've seen these used, or I remember talking about being used as a way of attaching like carbon fiber hoods and such. I'm saying that because Dan just talked about them to your vehicle. But the fun thing is that it's basically spring loaded. So let's see, and that's right. So yeah, that'll still work. So what'll probably happen is we'll use this as a connection between the two different motherboards. So, because there's one that's in the back of the foam packs that has all the holes in it, so we can get into the electronics. So if we we only need one. We put one of these right in the middle of the right-hand side, whichever side it's going to be. So when it closes, it just does that, and it keeps the pack closed. And then when it's time to open the pack and let the hinge open up, we can and then the pack can open like a refrigerator, like a reverse refrigerator. Imagine mounting the door to your refrigerator to the wall. That would be your back. And then you open up the rest of the box. Yeah, that's the way the Proton Pack's going to work. And is there any reason for doing it that way? No, it sounds like fun. Is there any reason for me to keep using these things? No, I got hung up on these because I thought they were cool. And at this point, they'll still work as probably an easy way to attach the two halves of the motherboard together in a secure fashion that is easy to undo on the fly. And that was kind of the big thing. We should be able to open up the pack while we're wearing them. May need someone's help for balance because it's going to throw the balance off totally when they open up. But should be able to open the pack while we're wearing them to be able to turn lights on and off, replace batteries, activate the Biddy Boomer speakers for the sound files to play, stuff like that. Take our beer out, stuff like that. Steve D's got a couple of great questions. What are the plans for today's stream? I think I covered that. Any new Ryobi toys recently? No, I haven't heard from Ryobi in a little while, but the last couple of years it's always been those few months up before Christmas, right? You get the big push for new retail stuff, September, October, November. That's where all that happens. So hopefully I'll hear from Ryobi again. I probably should reach out and say hi. But no, I don't have any new tools from them, new toys from them, and I don't think I've personally bought anything. But I do look at Ryobi tools every time I go into Home Depot. I'm always looking at those colors. It's like, ooh, what's this? Just, oh, hey, this isn't updated. Like the air pump has updated and changed. And they keep making more and more tools that use their smaller battery. They've got the smaller. I should probably get both batteries. You guys know what they are, but. And back to camera 3. We'll be going live in just a second. So you got your classic Ryobi battery, right? Basically, this form and format hasn't changed much in years for Ryobi, which is smart. So these batteries are usable with well over 300 different tools at this point. But they've come out with a smaller version that is just USB rechargeable. This one's 2 amp. They also make a 4 amp version, and it has a built-in USB-C charging port. So you can just use your phone charger literally and plug in a USB-C cable here, and it starts lighting up that it's charging. It'll start flashing green or flashing red or whatever, and then it goes solid green when it's done. Yeah, so they keep making more and more tools that use this light. It's lighter weight in your hand, but it's also lighter weight with voltage. And there's a lot of interesting things that I've seen interesting tools I've seen them make sitting on the shelves at Home Depot that uses this new smaller battery. Now, for cosplay, this small battery on the outside says it's 4 volt, 2 amp hours. With 7.2 watt hours. So 4 volt. This is strong enough to run basic 3.5 volt LEDs, but that's about it. You could potentially jump a few more of these into something. I haven't done a cosplay yet that uses this battery. This is a potential replacement for some of the phone charger battery things that I've done in the past. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Haven't played with it much. There were things that I was doing when these first came out that required more power, and so I was discouraged by that, and that feeling has stuck with me. So at this point, I'm thinking this actually might still be usable, and it's got the multiple ports on the back, all these contacts. There's the big one, and a little one, and a little one, and a big one. And I'm sure a pair of these are for charging, and a pair of these are for output. But sometimes with these tools, like one is a certain amount of voltage out, and another one is a certain amount of voltage out because it's all built into the inside. And with the form, it seems like it's just an 18650 battery inside. I've never broken one of these open because they are just cast sealed. And I haven't had any that I wanted to break. So, but anyway. Yeah, very lightweight too. So definitely something I could use for a light up sword or something. Now I've talked well past the 12 o'clock hour. Oh, it's only 4 minutes. That's not bad. The replacements. It's still Ryobi 1 for me. Wall-mounted enclosed server racks. Yes, Dan. A lot like that. Thank you, Marvel Guy, for reminding me. Sorry, I'm busy talking away. Oh, okay. Yeah. Ed Vixen saying first time he saw the new battery, thought it was just a spare USB battery. Didn't know it was just only charged from USB. And Stephen Hall is here. Hello! Ralph Morick is here. Oi! Hello, Ralph. Hello, Stephen Hall. Hi, guys, and hello to anyone in the future watching. We have now started the public portion of the Odin Makes a Sunday live stream. Well, as you missed with the me talking about what I did over the weekend and for the past week, it was me talking. A little bit of interaction, a whole lot of me talking. But at this point, what I want to do today, the goal for today, is to get the new motherboard attached to the Alice packs. I want both Alice packs to have both of the new motherboards attached and start to figure out where the hinges are that don't exist. I don't own them yet. And so where the connectors may have to go. And I'll talk about that when I get to it again. I gave a hint to those who are watching before. Those of you who are watching playback, you guys are awesome. Thank you. But, yeah. I get to start doing stuff. For those of you who just joined us, where's Felicia? I've been busy enough for the past week. I completely forgot to remind her that I was expecting to go live today and that I was still planning on going live today. So she's not here because she wasn't told that it was happening. So, yeah, I hope she's enjoying her Sunday. Ralph didn't expect a live today. Right. Well, Ralph, yeah, this is 3 in a row for you. Because last week I did a Discord members only live stream where I figured out what it was I was going to do this week. Assuming there'd be a lot more talking going on because I was going to have a co-host. I messed that up. And keep in mind, I messed that up. That's the only reason that's happening. Or not happening. In a previous episode of the Odin Makes live stream, we talked about how I was going to take the secondary motherboard, which I laser cut out for just such an occasion, and then added these brackets onto them as a way of mounting the Alice packs to the Proton Pack. So I have this blank motherboard that we're going to attach the Alice packs to, and then the Proton Pack will have to attach to this motherboard. It seems complicated, but and that's how we're going to be able to wear the whole thing. Why are there double motherboards? Because even though what I've seen for the real packs and what I've seen with a couple of other builders, they've all drilled holes into the aluminum Alice packs. And I was still running in that direction. And I had so many people, a couple of live streams ago, so many experienced Ghostbusters telling me to never drill holes in the Alice packs, that they are basically too fragile, which is a concern that I had, drilling, especially drilling into that thin tube, that they would break. And so I would rather not break my vintage Alice packs. I would rather them, last a bit longer. So not drilling a hole through this 20 millimeter, I think it's aluminum tube, or through, I was okay going through the bar here, but even then, literally Bryce New and Lewis, all caps in the chat, don't drill it. All right. So the plan instead is I've got Mr. Motherboard, and I've got these, I laser cut and made some wooden mounting points. And so these guys, I'll have a piece that goes over it that just attaches to these 3 bars. And that is, well, that's not enough, is it? No, that's enough, because it's captive between the points. That would be enough to hold it in place. But then down here as well, I've got this thicker bar because we've got these pill-shaped mounting points from the original Alice packs. So I can actually mount through these at the bottom. And we know from the reference, this piece is something they use in the real packs, because there was actually a L-shaped bracket the military used, and this is what the connection was as part of the weight bearing for these packs originally. So I'm going to use these 2 existing. This is also much thicker material. I've got holes lined up down here for those to mount, and then there we are. I've got bars. I got more pieces of wood. That's all they are. That'll connect over these in order to hold everything together. So I'll be connecting these packs at 5 points. But I've only got, because last week was all about figuring it out. So I've only got this one figured out. So this week I need to take the parts for the other one and make it look like this one. And that was one of the big things I need to do. What does that mean? That all you lucky, lucky people that got to listen to me use the high-pitched whining rotary tool last week get to hear it all over again. Sorry, guys, but, this is going to work. Ed Vixen says, a cooking show and those mukbang videos are basically just podcasts with food. So maybe it's time we just call this live stream a podcast. Yeah, you're not entirely wrong. You guys have joked about that before. You called it a pod stream or a cast, was a pod stream or a live cast or something like that? Because it is a lot of talking. And we got hello from Marvel Guys. Stupid Bookie says 32nd, which I can see why he's Stupid Bookie, because I'm showing there's only 20 of you. And Schultz Division says, remember everyone to tap that like button, because that helps the Mr. Algorithm and does actually help me. Much appreciated. Odin, are you doing more regular videos? Yeah, keep talking about it. And at this point, it isn't that I keep talking about it during live streams, which is what it's been for like a year. At this point, it is actually me and Shop Gremlin actively talking about how to go about getting regular videos going into the mix again. And thinking that I've found something that's going to work for me, that I'm a little bit more used to, for getting build videos happening again. May actually do one of those pretty quick. One of the fun things is I know Joe Gillis is also finally going to come by with a microphone that he wants to use specifically. He's worried about me and him having matching microphones, so he can actually start doing the Beyond Geek podcast, which is fine. So this Wednesday, he should be dropping by in the evening and dropping off whatever equipment it is that he thinks I need to be able to do an audio-only podcast with him on a regular basis to help with the Beyond Geek channel, which I'm fine with, because that's just me talking for however long with Joe, which is what you usually do on the phone anyway. So, yeah, that should be cool. And then under the same things, I've got this, whatever this boom mic is that he wants, I might use it'll be set up in here. I might just use that for the live streams and future Odin Makes projects. Yep, Shop Gremlin video shorts. Yeah, no, we totally can still do SGS Shop Gremlin shorts with printing. It's like my motto or something after all this time. Yes, Schultz Division. Huge shout out and huge thank you to Schultz Division, who from the very beginning was always saying, hey, everyone, remember to subscribe and to hit that like button. That is 100% something that he's been doing since the very, very beginning, because I always felt uncomfortable saying it. I always felt uncomfortable. Right now I'm saying it slightly in jest. I've always felt uncomfortable saying that with earnest, and not the guy. I mean, like legitimately, hey guys, I really need you to hit the like button, and I really need you to subscribe. I didn't want to. It wasn't comfortable asking. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a big deal. And where that comes from partly is a lot of the other YouTube channels that I watched, some of which are done now, or do still watch. They don't do that. They actually don't go out of the way to say those things. And so emulating the channels that I like, I'm not going to do that, is basically what it came down to. But it is also YouTube. Every single one of us YouTube people, every single one of us Twitch people, which I'm not a Twitch, but whatever. It's all the same thing. We are basically like a PBS channel in the United States, Public Broadcasting Service, where sure we get money from a government agency. That's where PBS gets money from Cable Commission, and there's PBS funds that go out to support the stations. Which, as a YouTube personality, that's coming from Google, coming from the ads that you guys are watching from Google. So that is a constant little trickle of money coming in. For me, it's little right now. And for PBS, it's only like half the funding that a lot of the stations need. The other half comes from viewers like you, where you guys are doing the pledge breaks and pledging to help the PBS station on a monthly basis to keep their operation costs working and to keep the programming coming. And that's what Patreon is. Patreon on the internet was set up with the exact same basic idea as the pledge model that the PBS stations do, for the viewers to be able to support the programming in order to keep seeing the programming that they like. And it's amazing that it works really, really well. And at this point, bless you guys. Seriously, the money I get in from Patreon is actually more than the money I'm getting in from Google. That'll change if I put some freaking videos out. But for a while now, that's the way it's been, because I've got some serious hardcore fans, and I appreciate you guys that you've been hanging out and watching this stuff for as long as you have, and are supporting me and supporting this crazy hobby thing that I do. That's not a hobby, so I just kind of made it sound really bad. I shouldn't say that. That is supporting me with this channel, what I'm doing, and thank you all very much. Anyway, so I kind of lost where I was going there. I got way more detailed, but smashing the like button and asking for people to subscribe was always uncomfortable and always felt disingenuous or something. So Schultz Division, thank you very much for right away popping up with that, because that allowed us to say, hey, Schultz Division says this, and that just made it easier to say. I don't know how else to put it. But anyway, thank you. Yep. Ralph says I never ask either on my metal casting channel, but I do sometimes on my gaming channel. That's totally cool. Oh, John got to meet Alan Carnes yesterday at the Reading Comic Con. That's awesome. Alan Carnes, he's the guy that did my headcast. I talked about Alan yesterday at Novacon. There was a group that were doing special horror makeup effects, right? There were a little bit of monsters. It was a lot of blood and guts. And they did a little panel on how the stuff works and how they do it with a lot of pictures, which was really cool. But they came by, and of course, they know Alan Carnes, which is... so... Because I asked, oh, great, do you guys do, head casting? And that became a fun conversation of, they do, but they're also trying to do more head casting, live casting, right? Like I got one of, I don't have one right here. I had Alan Carnes come over, there was a whole video on it using silicone from Smooth On, did a live cast off of me in my head, and then we could make a positive, which in turn I've used forever for making helmets. I could do it for makeup. I just haven't, because there's a lot of money to sink into doing the makeup effects that I don't have right now. Yeah, so it was really cool getting that done when I did, because I've got it still. And I should still be able to pull from it. It's a couple of years old, but I've kept it in its plaster form. I should still be able to get a close enough pull out of it. It's not going to distort too much. I should still get a good enough head cast out of it. But as time has progressed since I got my head cast done, and I'm talking with the effects people yesterday, the handheld 3D scanners have gotten to a point that you can just do a live scan and get a head cast that way. That is, the cost of getting a scanner is about the same as getting a single head cast. If I had paid Alan, then which he was nice enough to do it, pro bono for me, right? I think that's the right term for it, which sounds kind of bad right now. He did it for me for the exposure, believe it or not. I paid for all the materials, and I paid for his gas to come down, and I fed him and his assistant Jennifer, and that's what they did it for, because it was fun and they were happy to do it. But if I'd actually paid him what he was worth, as well as paying for all the materials, I could have just bought the Creatality scanner that we've got, and it will do a head scan. So, keeping that in mind, guys, that if you're really serious about spending the money on getting a head cast for yourself, and you're not going to go the alginate route, which is cheaper than the silicone route, but the alginate route, you're going to get one pull out of it, because alginate is a gelatin. Yeah, it's gelatinous. That was the word I was looking for that didn't come out. It's a gelatin based off of seaweed, so it's got a lot of strength. but it dries out in a hurry, and usually after you get your one cast out of it, the alginate is destroyed in the decasting process, so you get one head, and that's it. And then the entire mold that you made as a life cast off of the person is now garbage, and you just chuck it because you can't use it again. I paid the hundreds of dollars to get the silicone, so I've been able to get a couple of casts out of it. I should be able to get a couple more casts out of it. And that's really cool, but if you're able to scan and then basically 3D print, even if it's in sections, you'll be able to get a head that is your head that'll let you be able to make helmets. Or I don't know if you'll be able to do makeup off of it, right? Because there's all the layer line stuff, but you probably could. In all honesty, you would end up having to smooth out all the layer lines from the 3D printing because I don't have them here. With a really thin, like, slip coat of clay, probably want to use oil-based or sulfur-based and not water-based, which is what a slip coat is. And then you could actually sculpt what your makeup is, and you'll be able to then use plaster and everything else to start getting your makeup pieces like you're used to. But yeah, no, that's a totally doable thing, and that was a fun thing to talk to them about at Novacon again. I am going to be ADHD and bouncing off the walls about different things because I'm trying to stay awake. I'm doing pretty good. I got sleep last night, which I haven't had in a few days. So what I want to do, I've got my new motherboard, and they got this top piece, which I am assuming is parallel square with the overall thing, so it's not like this is an italicized board. So I've got this ruler, which has got a thicker edge. It's not just the thin, 2mm edge that a lot of rulers are. This is more like 5. So I can touch that against the motherboard, and then I want to move it up against the other motherboard, which of course is my table's bent, so it doesn't quite work that well. By the way, guys, for those of you who don't know, my tabletop is not level. There we are. So there's a gap here because of the design. So I'm touching up here, and then the ruler's long enough, I'm touching down there, so I can assume, yes, the bottom of the Proton Pack is also flat because the facets that go around the cyclotron. So I've got it flat against this. So by doing that, I can now... This is where I had the bracket for the back of the Alice pack, and that's where I want to put the bracket here. Which this bracket is 2 pieces of 1/8 inch or 3mm or 3.5mm plywood that were laser cut with a pilot hole at whatever size. So the total thickness becomes 3 3/8 inch. That's what this note is. No, not total thickness. What the heck's 3 3/8? Well, anyway, whatever. Because this is greater than 3 3/8 inch. Yeah, that's what I wrote down there for whatever that was for. Yeah, and it's cooked. So apparently I was moving too slow with too much power, but I don't really care. It's fine. So then this part needs to go down here. As I recall, I just kind of visually made sure it was centered. So visual is going to be enough. There's a little bit of play in the pack, so that's fine. As a cheat, going off the one that I did in the previous video where I actually did my best to make sure I had the parts where I wanted them to place. I've got the ruler helping me set this one. So I'm going to assume this is within millimeters of correct of that, and I will mark where it is with my Bob the Builder PBS carpentry pencil. And pencil, we can see it. What I don't want to do is glue the wood directly to the neoprene. This is got, probably should mark all the others are first. I put creature cast over my plywood so that the texture and the color of this new motherboard would match the old packs, right? The packs we'd already made. So it's sealed with the same stuff. What I don't want to do is take wood glue, which requires the glue itself to permeate or get into the fibers of what it's gluing, up against the neoprene, which is a sealant. Right? So I'm going to have wood glue that's basically going to have only the surface tension strength between the glue and the surface of the neoprene. I don't want to trust that as being strong enough. Even though I'm going to put bolts through it, I don't want to trust that as being strong enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a wire brush and I'm going to remove the neoprene in order to glue this down. But I probably should mark where all the other stuff goes first. I do have all the other brackets ready to go because these were laser cut from plywood and glued together with wood glue and carpentry glue, which takes time to dry. So I did this a couple of days ago to give the glue a chance to dry. Hopefully you guys don't feel cheated like you missed out on something, all the exciting glue drying time. But when I made these, what I did is I cut out a whole bunch of these smaller, let me go ahead and, I got these smaller brackets that are made. Here's the top and the bottom, which cooked. What I think I need to do with the big honkin' laser death machine is put a grid down to keep this material off the backing plate, because I believe it's trapping heat and then the air is being forced between it, causing all this crazy scorching on the back. So if I have this raised up on like some sort of egg crate thing, anyway, hopefully I can avoid my scorching. So to build one of these brackets, what I've got is these 4 parts make up one of these brackets, right? What I did was I glued the scorched sides together, and then I glued these squares together. And these squares were cut at 1 1/4 inches, which is basically the thickness of most of the American steel rulers, but which is just dumb trivia that's fun for me. But this square here is the same, so I didn't have an orientation issue. Whichever way it's rotated, that circle is still in the center. Honestly, ideally, I was hoping that all these holes would line up, but they're not. What's going to end up happening, and plus there's no hole in the motherboard. So these going to end up becoming like a pilot hole, a guide hole for drilling through everything to pass a bolt through to attach stuff. But that's how these brackets were made, is I glued these 4 parts together in order to, try to do it with your left hand, Odin, people can see stuff. I'm not left-handed. So in order to make these brackets, and then now that they're dry, I'm going to glue these down to the motherboard, and then I can come back with another one and just lay it across the top and screw it in, and that'll make this little slot here captive for the flat stock that's on the Alice pack. I had asked Lewis to send me files for the 3D print, that they were doing for mounting their packs, and realistically, it was pretty much just this. This is all it was. So I was like, well, I can wait for the 3D print, or I can just go burn up a bunch of trees. So, I toasted some trees. What I want to do, this guy's going to go here. This guy's over there. I probably should measure just what this distance is. I don't have a ruler ready for that. Okay. This ruler's got a 0 end on it, which is nice. That is almost exactly 100 millimeters. I think we talked about that 2 weeks ago. It being 100 millimeters off. Can you guys remember that? Okay. So it's there we are. So we will put that one there. got that one placed. Now, I got the two in the top, which are just very at the very bottom of your screen, but there's two that go up here. So I can put my ruler up against those now. I'll touch both. And now, hopefully, I'm far enough that I can... Looks like it's 69 millimeters. So we'll go with 69 millimeters. Put the board down. I'll get 3 sides for now. And then this other one that you guys can't see, but trust me, it's over here. Actually, I can't see. Didn't I? It's 4 3/8 from space between the two, right? So there's this guy here, and then this other one is 4 3/8 inch away. So I'll just do that. Is it 4 3/8 or is that the 3 3/8? Am I reading it backwards? No, that's 4 3/8. So it's about there, which gives me about 35, which is about what this looked like, but those are too small for me to be able to read across the table, because it's a bit of a stretch. Like reading from this to way the heck out here, it's a bit far for me to be able to see, but it's about 35. That should be okay. I just moved it. Here I am fighting over a couple of millimeters. It really doesn't matter. I mean, it matters. What matters is that they're both this way the same. It doesn't matter this way other than I'm holding on to that idea. And I moved it. Oh, that one's from already marked though. Okay. Also, all I'm really doing with these pencil marks is marking where I want to take the wire brush to remove the neoprene off the motherboard so I've got a good bond with the glue. When it's time to put the pieces down, I'm going to wiggle them while the glue's still wet so they're going to be able to fit the Alice pack, because that's the important part. So what am I doing? I'm just making this as hard on myself as I can, because that's how Odin makes. I probably should do this time that I didn't do last time is use a wire mat. Use a dust mask. Spacers for the Alice frame? Yes, Jimsy's 33. That's exactly what's going on right now. Randy Watson says, "Love the channel, Odin. Always great videos and information." Thank you, Randy. I try to share. It's fun for me to share, and it's fun that Thank you. Why don't you just put one on top of each other and drill through? Steve D, take your reasonable things and get out! No, it's a great idea. Why don't I do that? Because I trace them out this way. Extra toasty. Yes, it is extra toasty, Bernie Davis. Remember to shake it up the wood glue before going live. Fine, I'll shake it up the wood glue. I found a smaller container this time. Shake. Shaking. Shook. I didn't bring the lid out here. Let's move this so I don't spray neoprene into it. That's not what I want. Remember to drink from the correct bottle. Yes! Remember to drink from the correct bottle. Thank you, Schultz Division. As I'm working with multiple bottles over here on the side, what you want to remember is you want to drink from the correct bottle that you've got. And I'm laughing at that. There's a point in time when I went to Chipotle often. I do not anymore. But one of the things I would get often from Chipotle was, a burrito, because I actually really like burritos. Hey everyone, here's some. The burrito format is one of my favorite food formats. Don't know how else to put it. And basically, if you think about it, sushi is a burrito that's been cut into slices. So that counts. I'm at Chipotle. I've got my burrito. I unwrap the foil. I'm biting off of it. And my habit is to have my hot sauce. And I've got my glass bottle of the Mexican-style Coca-Cola, which was made in cane sugar. And I appreciate that. The corn syrup and I don't get along so well. So I got them here. So I can take a drink from my soda, and then I can eat my burrito. And then on occasion, I like to go ahead and put some hot sauce onto my burrito. And sure enough, I did it the right way. If I'm going to do it wrong, I picked up the soda and I poured a little soda. By the time it was pouring, I realized what I had done wrong, so I barely put any on it. It's not like I drowned my burrito in carbonated beverage. But, yeah, it was like, oh, that was dumb. And so then I really made it a big, more of a change of where they were, so they weren't just right. Make sure to drink from the correct bottle. Don't drink your paint water. For those of you who are painting model miniatures or Warhammer minis, War Game minis, even if you're working on canvas painting or model kits, don't drink the paint water. It tastes like chalk and it's nasty. Trust me on this. The stove is hot. You don't have to touch it. Okay. And this time I'll use a dust mask, unlike last week. Okay, so all I'm trying to do is remove the neoprene from the motherboard so I can glue the shit together. My apologies to those of you who are wearing headphones.
it's got an overload sensor, which is pretty cool. That's twice now that I've gotten this unit to stop. This is the lightest weight rotary tool that Ryobi makes, and the motor is actually in the handle. So it's a fairly small motor, but it's great for little delicate work. And it's great that it's got this is just a battery cable, right? So it's not a whole lot of extra stuff you're fighting with in your hand. But it does have a overload sensor, so if you're drawing too much power or if the motor gets too hot, however it works, it automatically shuts off. So that's why it stopped, and now I just have to press this button on the top here, this guy here. So you got your power on off button, and it's a smart button. And then you got a speed control down here. So I just got mine, cranked up to 5, and that's it. It worried me the first time it happened because I thought I broke it, right? I thought I killed it. But no, it appears to be designed to do that, which is actually really cool. Probably tells you that in the manual if I bother to read it. This was one of the first rotary tools that Ryobi came out with. And I'm still super happy with this one. There's this one and one of the newest ones, most recent ones they came out with, which is a huge base system that's got the big drill motor in it and a flex shaft that goes out to the bit. That one is one you can use to really hog out a big complicated project. This is really good for delicate stuff. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Did that too quick. Covered in dust. That's why you wear a dust mask. Not that I did last time, but I wanted to this time.
thank you for bearing with me on that. The whole, cleanup of all the dust in here. I know the noise is a little much, but and really I know that part of the live stream above all else, that's the part that just sucks. But yeah, thank you for putting up with that. Now I want to glue the parts on. No video, then no Bigfoot. Okay, what's going on here? So why the wire head and not a different tip head? Advixen, don't know. It was just simple. I mean, I could use a sanding bit, but the wire head, when I first did it, was stripping the paint off just fine. I've seen that in other things for removing paint. So I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. Why not? The wire head is a consumable bit, meaning that head, when it was new, was about 30 millimeters in diameter. It's probably getting close to about 18 millimeters in diameter now because the bristles wear down. I'm not just sanding the pieces off of my plate. I'm also breaking off little bits of the wire head itself, which is another reason why you want to wear safety goggles and a dust mask, is you have little particulates of wire flying everywhere. But anyway, reminds me of the dental drill. Yes, it does. I want all the lead out of them. It makes more money to sell them than the batteries. That's like pouring a liquid mirror. Yes, pouring. Okay, what are we talking about here? If Bob Ross can paint on Twitch, then Odin can order. Thank you! Ralph says, I've been slicing open lead acid batteries. That's where that comment's coming from. Goes the rotary tool. Sounds like you from the 60s movie. Yeah, it does. Wow, I missed a lot. That's great. Oh man, not seeing any videos for you for a while. Glad to see you're going. Thanks, Sean Connie. My name's Andy. Hi, Odin. I'm sorry if you've answered this question a million times before. Oh, I have. No, I don't know. But when you do plan on uploading when do you plan on uploading your next video? I love your prop videos. I can't wait to see the next one. Thank you. My name is Andy. Honestly, at this point, this month would be the best time, right? Because I said to put one out in January, and it came out in April, which is 4 months. And that was the last video I put out. So now that it's 4 months later, it's time to put out another video, right? I really want to get back to being able to have one video a month, maybe 2 videos a month. That would be the goal. I really need to. I want to put a video out. God, that's not a whole lot of time to say that right now because I got a con coming up. But I'd love to be able to get a video out this month. That'd be great. In fact, I kind of need to, actually. I've got videos that I need to do that are review videos. Here's the thing that hangs me up sometimes is I know that I've only got the energy, I've only got the time to be able to get 1, maybe 2 videos out a month, right? Could probably do more realistically, but as far as builds go, I can only get 1 or 2 a month. And then along comes Lychee Slicer, which is a company that I've been using for years, and I'm totally happy with Lychee Slicer. I talked about this last week. Then I was out of town the whole time. They want a couple of review videos using the Lychee slicing software. I'm totally okay with this. I've been using it for years. I've been paying for it for years. Now they want to pay me. It's like almost like getting a refund. What they want to do specifically is they want a video that shows off. They now have a library of content that comes with the slicer. I believe it's tabletop gaming primarily. I haven't really looked at it because I'm always building my own thing and wanting to print my own thing most of the time. Sometimes I build stuff that I've downloaded that they probably don't have in their software because it's going to be copyright. And then the other one they want to do is the other video they want is one they got a multi-plate function, meaning that for those of you who've used the bamboo slicer, and that's probably been incorporated into other slicers since, I only know it from the bamboo slicer, you have a project whose individual pieces are too much to fit on one build plate, or the colors are different to be able to fit on one build plate. And so you can create a secondary build plate, a tertiary build plate, up to a lot of additional, 20s of more build plates for all of your pieces to sit on. And then when it comes time to print, you can select which build plate and send that to your printer. And you're only printing off of plate number 3. But since you've broken your one big project up into multiple build plates within the same file, it's easier to keep track, in my mind, it's easier to keep track of where all the small parts are going. And so they built this into the resin printer one now, which is cool, but I don't directly talk to my resin printer from the Lychee Slicer. I haven't used it yet, so I don't know how this works. I don't directly talk to my resin printer from my lychee slicer, to be able to just tell it to, okay, now print 3. I end up exporting a file that has my build plate on it, and then I load the file off of a USB memory stick locally on my resin printer, because I've got an Elegoo resin printer and an eCubic resin printer currently, and neither one of those natively talks to lychee that I'm aware of. So the idea of having multiple build plates never occurred to me for the resin printer, because I have to export a file to print from. But the idea of keeping track of all the bits and pieces that go into this thing, especially if you're trying to print different colors, because with resin you can't do a multicolor print. To my knowledge, you can't do a multi-resin print, because you're literally dipping your project into the liquid resin and just setting up the tiniest of the layers in the very bottom, because the bottom of your resin vat is a transparent plastic, and you have an LED screen underneath it that just it's just black and white, and it's changing what the output's going to be. So it's either casting a shadow where you don't want the resin to set up, or letting the UV light go through where you do want the resin to set up. So I don't see how that could be a multicolor print with the way those printers work. Anyway, so that's kind of cool. Something coming up with those. So I've got those videos I need to get done. And I always feel bad that I've got these sponsored videos that coming up that I want to get done, but I haven't put out proper content, right? Yeah, so that makes me like, oh, I got to get a real video out so I can do the sponsored video, so it doesn't seem like I'm only putting out sponsored videos. Anyway, yeah. Working on it. Filler videos, no new workshop tour, no editing. Dude, my workshop is this. What you're not seeing are packs of boxes that I haven't unpacked. Why? Because I don't have any energy to do videos. I don't have any energy to unpack either. Nerf passed a reprint. Not good thing. Check my rankings on number 6. Congratulations, Bernie Davis. And a cheap video idea, do a Nerf blaster reprint. Repaint. Not a bad plan. Okay, I want to glue these things on. I keep talking and gluing's not happening, but that's okay. Talking is filler. What's going to happen next? Actually, what's great is I can glue this on and set it aside and not touch it. I don't have to have everything done right now today. One of the things I failed to do that I wanted to do after last stream was go out and get some 1/4-inch carriage bolts. I can still make this work with just some other 1/4-inch bolts that I've got, because I just need 2. I can also dig. I might have some in a bolt pile that I don't normally dig into. So these holes are actually off center, right? They're lower than center of the plate. So I got to remember how I glued them on, and they glue on this orientation where the hole is down. The hole is you know, this is incorrect. That's correct from the way I want to do it, because that's what's going to line up with the Alice pack. So now it's just squish, 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 squish. Of course, then you get paranoid. Yeah, I did it on the right side, right? Yeah, okay, I've got this bump out on this side, and that matches up with that one. So yeah, I'm putting the parts on the right side. Last one. Now the hurry up and want to get it done makes me want to just set this aside and let it dry, but these aren't going to line up with the metal pieces on the phallus pack, and that'll mess me up. So setting it here, there we are. Okay. So I've got the metal bracket down on this end. With this camera angle, it's hard to see, but there's the holes here and here underneath this angle brace. I've got those pilot holes lined up with the pill-shaped holes on the metal Alice pack. My center bar is going between this U connector, and my crossbar is going between these two U connectors. So, and what's going to, this will clamp down. Yeah, that's kind of the flex. And I'm pretty sure, and here's something I'm hoping that some of my advisors are watching. The big danger sticker goes up here, right? There's a big danger sticker that goes in the back of the pack, and I think it goes up high. I think. So now this glue needs to dry, as the pack keeps falling on my foot. This glue needs to dry, and I can start just digging for screws and drilling pilot holes to do the other ones. Let me set this aside somewhere safe-ish. What's safe in my shop? Not in my shop. That's what's safe in my shop. Okay. I need to walk off camera. I'm going to need to walk off camera so I can go find some bolts. Oh, those are short. Yeah, those are too short. Okay. Oh, right. These are all the bits and bolts and pieces I bought for the old idea for how to make the packs connect. That's not happening now. Oh yeah, I have these like ones that are too long. Oh, these will still work. Did I drill these out? Oh, okay, this one's already drilled out. I did this last time. Okay. Well, I haven't bought quarter 20. Let me look in the dang box. I keep talking about, hey, I got this box of like crash bots of bolts. Look in the crash box, Odin. Where did the crash box go, Odin? It was there. I don't see it now. It's that double-sided clear lid, flip open, everything gets mixed up. Oh, there it is. It's under the gun. Okay. Oh, I did look through this last time. That's right. I've had this box 96, 97. That's how old this box is. Maybe even 98. Somewhere in that area is when I bought this box. Okay, this side is mostly wood screws. That's right. Okay. Not what I'm after. Over here, I have what I ultimately want to use as my screw and fastener storage that I'm not really set up for yet. And I hope that I've got some longer 832 screws. Nope, those are the nuts. That I can use for attaching the those are only half. Those are only half inch probably isn't long enough. Oh, I honestly thought I had some longer ones over here. Is your video going to come to a screeching halt? Gosh, I hope not. 832 1 1/4. There we go. Yeah, that'll be fine. 832 nuts. Good. 832 washers. No, I had some 832 washers. I have. 6 by 1.5. I don't think of that. Okay, off camera, Odin, you kept yelling about 832s. What is an 832? Here we are. So an 832 screw in the American or whatever screw standards, because millimeter screws totally make more sense, but that's not what we do here because we count things by how many pieces of a cow you've got. A number 8 screw is the diameter of the screw. So a number 8 screw is a screw that is that width and diameter, right? It's a machine screw, and it's just whatever the heck size that is, which I could tell you, but I'm not going to at the moment. 32 means that there's 32 threads to an inch. So this is effectively a fine threaded screw. Because usually things are either 32 or 24 until you get to much bigger bolts and they become 16. Why are things in 16s? I don't know. Shoot, it's 8s too, the bolts, but this is just 8. There's also 4, 6, 8, 10. You know, those are all bolt sizes. So don't think that everything's always multiples of 8. And then the last number, 1 1/4. That's how long the screw is. So this screw's got 1 1/4 of an inch, which is way longer than I need. And it's a number 8 screw with 32 threads, which means that this nut, which is made for an size 8 screw with 32 threads, is going to fit this screw. And this 1 1/4 inch long screw is long enough to be able to go through the motherboard and all the other pieces with some considerable amount sticking out. I don't care right now. Today, I want stuff to go together and be done. This is something simple enough I can trade out in the future for a flush fit, for a better fit. So, not worried about that. Looks like an M4 screw. Yes! Very close. But it is different. The metric screws, you get your M4, M5, whatever, that is still... That first number is still the diameter of the head? It has to do with what the diameter of the screw is, right? And then you get the number of threads per centimeter or whatever. There's a course, or maybe it's number of threads per millimeter, because I've seen M4 1 screws, M4 1.25 screws, and then you get your length. It's the same type of notation, but it's in a metric standard instead of what I'm used to, which is arbitrary pipe standards. And then, you know, yeah, it gets weird because America. Because as SAE standards, you know, you get your standards for what the pipe thread is going to be, the MPT threads versus the you know, the other types of threads. Anyway, it can get weird. I think I let my logistics specialist work with the calipers, so they're not here now. Damn kids, stealing my stuff. Okay, well, it's not that important. What I need to do is just find a screw drill bit that's going to fit that. That might do it. Apparently that's not going to do it. Good job, Odin. So this is a 3/64. 4/64. It's going to be... No, that's math, isn't it? It's just 1/8.
No, it's not. It's in between. Well, what a shock. The drill bit size I think I want isn't here. Let me go over to my drills and other drill bits. Too big. This is an index set, so instead of being points of dimensions, they are still, but instead of the names of the drills being, you know, what their diameters are, right, using whatever measurement system you're accustomed to using, these are indexed, meaning that right now in my hand I've got a number 15 drill, and you can look up what the size of a number 15 drill is. Let's try 16. You can look up what the diameter of a number 16 indexed drill is, and it'll tell you in both SAE and metric, and they have a greater variance of diameters available, so it's easier to. Index drill bits are really good for doing tapping, where you're putting a thrill, where you're actually putting the thread into the material, the thread grippy thingy. You're going to tap out so screws will screw in, right? You use a, because the index will get you a better tolerance of fit for your threads to fit than, well, quarter isn't good enough, let's try 5/16. That's just too much of a difference. Yeah, that'll be fine. That's got a little bit of play, which is good. I'll probably use a 17, but I'll use this one because sure. Can I get over there? Where did my vacuum cleaner go? 16. Old index drill set I got from my dad. I like it because I remember it from my dad, but yeah, probably could use a new set soon. The one thing I'm really bummed that I haven't found since I moved shops is I've misplaced my metric drill bit set. Thank you, Miranda, for the for my metric drill bit set. But I kind of wish I knew where those were. Oh, I forgot to drill these out and put everything away. Dang it! All right, I got one. That one. I need to do 2 more. Right? Yeah, got that one. Gotta do these 2 still. There it is. Not only did I get the, I mean, I got a lot of tools from my dad, right? Not only is this a index drill bit set I got from my dad, but I got my dad's favorite cordless drill. This is your classic cordless drill. Right? Put your drill bit in it and you just... And these things still have use because you got way more infinite speed and, well, low speed anyway, and torque with this. And boy, my guy needs some oil. That is not as easy as it should be to spin. That is tough to spin. But yeah. I suppose I could hold on to it. So, oh yeah, this poor thing needs some oil. But yeah, it's regular chuck and just, yeah, anyway. Yeah, this is a absolutely the classic cordless drill. You like to call it that. Dad had bought a couple of these to put in a sailboat because I often didn't have power but needed to do something. Here's the other one. Same thing. Another cordless drill. I believe this one... No, it doesn't. What does this do? It sure seems like... Yeah, whatever. They're novelty for me. I like them. Oh, that's also got the old check on it too. Yeah, that takes the square bits. Alright. Let's see what our friend said here. I miss the rain down in Africa, right? So is the box label rubbing off vintage or rustic? Ralph, yeah. Ralph is saying I have little drawers full of all the screws, nuts, and bolts, and every small bit that seems like it would be useful that I come across while scrapping out old electronics. That's what some of that crash box is that type of stuff. 97, 98, I missed those years. DeGamer is here. He's a little late, but he's here. Oh, okay. Brittany Davis and Ghostbusters trying to help out where it is. It's the pack is off-center and closer to the wand mount, while Ghostbusters 2, it's perfectly centered to the crank generator. Alrighty. Well, I got it kind of centered to the motherboard, so that's where mine is. Oh, Oculus Orbis is asking where the big globe is behind me. That isn't for anything specifically, Oculus. This is funny you had your eye on this, Oculus. This is a it's a 20-inch light globe that was purchased for a video shoot. It doesn't quite, but that's all it was. It was a space helmet for the actress. Doesn't fit me, but because it got modified to be able to work as the classic bubble space helmet, the director Gonzo didn't need it anymore and let me have it, which is pretty cool. So yeah, kind of want to do something with this, but haven't got there yet. I need to make the access hole considerably larger, obviously. So that's all it is. It is a leftover project from a different video that Felicia helped out with more than I did, but I still got the spoils of war from it. So these guys, I want these guys, and I want these guys, and I want these, and I'm not sure if I need 1/8 inch by 1. 8. No. I don't think I need these. I don't think I need those. Now let's pack. So let's see, the wands are self-contained and ready to go. The packs are almost self-contained and ready to go, meaning that the we're not going to be putting any kind of wiring between the two, right? Everything that the purchased Neutrona ones that we have, thank you, Lewis, for your help with that, will make all the lights and sounds that we need. So the hose connecting the pack to the wands will be decorative, which is nice. We've got the electronics kind of ready to go inside of the packs. Yeah, so I'm trying to think a little bit ahead, right? I know we've got some trying to think ahead. I'm just putting screws together on something I did last week. So it's August. It would be really cool to have Proton Packs done for SAC Anime, which is the end of August. Plenty of time, in all honesty, with what we're at. It just becomes how much of this is live stream, how much of this is Patreon only live stream, and then played back for you guys, just to make sure the stuff gets done. And I think it's going to be a little bit of that. Because I need to, yeah. There's a little more that needs to go into getting the packs put together, but I'm thinking we're doing pretty good. Well, it's actually not that much longer.
Now, there's a sticker that goes on. I'm going to wait. I'll wait until the next video when Felicia's here to put the sticker on. Wow. So one of the things that's going to happen off camera is I will get the other pack to match this one, right? Whatever state we're at the end of this live stream, I will spend the time over the next few days, you know, which is going to be an evening, right? Getting the other pack to be able to be matching where this one's at, with these parts repainted with creature cast to be all solid, all put together. One of the benefits of using fasteners to put things together is I can take this back apart. Yeah, I don't think I need to make these any smaller. Maybe 1 inch might be good. So I might need to get myself 12 1-inch 8x32s. And actually, I might have some inside of at my computer desk. They're just not out here. Okay. Got time for that? Got time for that. Well, it's clamped, which isn't as exciting, but look, Alice pack. It's almost connected. The plan is what we wanted to do, what Felicia thought was a great idea, and I agree that it sounds like a fun idea, is along this edge of the Proton Pack, right? We got the side here. Black shirt, whatever else. You can see that this, minus the clamp, this is fairly straight. It's not straight up and down. It's on a slight angle here. But we can either put a hinge up here and a little hinge down here that'll keep it mostly hidden, and that'll allow the pack to open up off the frame. Or we can just put a piano hinge in and let it run down the side. It'll be totally visible. It'll still be black. It'll be totally visible. No one's going to care. It'll be a weird novelty thing that works. Again, just for the sake of having the pack open up because it can. Wow. The fact, it just dawns on me, right, that the next time Felicia's here, which will probably be the last stream before, unless we do a special one, before SAC Anime, we could end up wearing these things at the end of the video. That's kind of cool. At the end of the stream. That is a good place to be. That's where we're at. So yeah, I'm either going to get like an 8-inch or a 10-inch piano hinge, or go buy a 24-inch one and cut it down, or one of those things. So this could open up, or yeah, it becomes a small hinge up here. No, that won't work because this hinge will have to stick out. So piano hinge. And then on this side, probably here or here or here, some of these areas. So I'm looking at, where would I put the button release? This is the button release screw in the bag again. You can't see what it is. It's a baggie of crap. But that button release could potentially go here, but it feels like above or below this bracket is going to be a good spot for it. And I think we only need one. We only need one to hold it shut, because there'll be a length of piano hinge on this side. And the best part is this won't open up like a refrigerator. This won't open up perfectly square, because this line is an angled line compared to where the bottom and the top is. Like I've had assumed that this line is parallel to the very bottom down here, so this edge is on an angle to it ever so slightly. So the pack is actually going to fall open and stay open because of the hinge, which is probably good. So yeah, that's where I want to go with it next. Which means need to figure out where, if the hinge is going here, and the pack is going to open up like that for no reason other than to do it. Okay, I'm running into problems. It can only open up about 90 degrees. All right, testing. Testing is good. Running into problems. Not a big deal, because I don't want the. So there's two things we're gonna have to do, and that's okay. There's a high point here and a high point up here. These are gonna have to be sanded off so the piano hinge can open up and allow this to open out enough, and that's okay, because this is a secondary motherboard only to hold the pack to the Alice frame without drilling holes. But then here, yeah, we have this hole that doesn't do anything. There's nowhere here. Need to figure out where this bolt, this screw, which is good sized, one of these guys, where's the camera, where this can fit, because it can't quite go here, because where this solid is, there's not a lot of foam on the back, right? I only put the cutouts where there were boxes on the back. Let me set this down before I knock it off. So I'm looking at potentially inside this box is where this bolt can go, and just to... we didn't have a specific use for that, I don't think. Funny, I can see some of the mountings on it. So I've got wood on a couple of sides, so I can totally make a mounting point that this thing can fit into this hole and glue up against stuff in order to make a hard surface for this, and then the snap connector that will be attached to the Alice Pack part of the motherboard that I dropped in there. All the parts are together now. Right, so this goes into the other motherboard. This side faces the user's back. This goes on the inside, which means it needs to go in the center of the hole because there's a lot of material that'll be sticking through that thin motherboard, and that becomes our latch for holding the pack together. So it'll swing shut. This has got play because it's a ball connector, so it can come in on that angle, right? It's gonna, as an exaggeration, it's gonna come in on an angle and click in place because the hinge is on the other side, so it'll be on a radius, right? And then we just that, and the pack should open by pushing the button. So I'm thinking that this needs to go here, wherever here is, that allows enough space for this to live above that horizontal bracket. Gaff tape was a great quick way to put this together when we needed it to go together. It is not doing what we want to do now. So if I can get the wire to connect there and the wire to connect there to keep it under control, and then I can bend the wire there, that gives me enough. Okay. Yeah, we did number these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. All right. I need some tabs of... Okay. Scissors. I'm just going to use some 2mm wet the foam to use as a tab. Uses, a way of attaching the cyclotron cables. So cable control, right? Is that what I'm talking about? So attaching this white cyclotron cable inside the pack as a way of controlling it and keeping it from flopping around. So yeah, I'm actually trying to glue in some of the electronics at this point. Alrighty, is that and that. Set that there. I need to put glue on the inside of that still. Which is here somewhere. Then I got one more place I want to put it, which is here. It's gonna take a second to dry. This is great. Ralph Mort's got a drill like my dad's old drill. Found it in a pile of ancient tools in a shed clear out once. You've been working on this pack forever. Yes, I have, Justin. One of the reasons why we've been working on this pack forever, there's a certain amount of dragging our feet because of not having the funds to get some of the parts, right? And then early on, we're going to make everything from scratch because that was what kind of I wanted to do. And yeah, that just wasn't feasible. We literally learned the hard way for ourselves that just purchasing the existing stuff is just as cost effective as making it from scratch, right? Making the amount of money spent on funky tapes to try and make a ribbon cable from scratch was actually more than just buying ribbon cable. The thinking that had to go into how to go about making the electronics for the cyclotron and everything else ended up being more involved than just buying a kit off of Etsy. And there's nothing wrong with that. It was just part of the learning process we had to go through in order to deal with this. So yeah, we have been working on these packs forever. We're already talking about what we're going to do next. We're trying to get these done for SAC Anime, which means we're close to being done with the Proton Packs, and we will probably take a break from Ghostbusters for a little while and work on something else. What's coming up? Don't want to talk about it because we haven't solidified anything yet. But just know that we're nearing the finish point for this part of the project. I could make a Madame Leota with that globe. Hello, DJ Stumpy. You've been here for a little bit, but I'm catching up. Big Red Danger label. Oh! Bernie Davis. That's what that is. Going back up, going back up, going back up. Bernie Davis, it's off-center and closer to the wand mount. Ghostbusters 2 is perfectly centered to the crank generator. And that's where the big red label goes. Thank you! But I think I'm still going to wait till next week with Felicia to put that on because I know she gets a kick out of stickers. Or for adults, they're decals. What kind of paddings does those have right now? It doesn't look comfortable. Yeah, the padding is going to go on. It'll actually keep it off of us. I'll probably get some 1-inch screws so those six screws coming through don't go all the way through. Also, I'm going to need to end up once the build's in. I'll need to. I can picture it. I just can't word it right now because I'm nearing the end of my personal how to be on TV gas tank. I've got the button head screws that I'm using for mounting the Alice pack on, right? I could always go get a different type of screw head, but I'll probably have to make a void for those button heads to fit on this, or I'll have to look into getting the countersunk style screws that are got like a triangle head. However, they're 1.25 inches long, which looks like that extra 1/4 inch. I could probably get inch long screws and won't have those spikes coming out the back that'll possibly hit us in the back. But there's a big kidney pad that goes across the back, and there's another piece of piping foam that goes up here, and so I'm not too worried about it, but I haven't put it on yet, and you guys know better than I do. D-Gamers, what are you doing for this stream? Talk about random crap. I really need to learn to write things down. In the week, I had a good question to ask, and now I can't recall what this maggot was. Oh, I'm sorry, DJ Jump. Yeah, DJ Stuffy. I'm horrible at notes, too. I'm really bad at notes.
Lewis says, "Hey, what's up? I didn't get a notification of stream." Oh, sorry, Lewis. I just kind of did it my normal way. This is the I'm trying to get the back put on, and kind of did. Now it looks like a sturdy pack. Thank you, Bernie. Oh, hey, just woke up, working all morning on Stomping, almost totally done. Aria51, Dave, that's really cool. Looking forward to seeing Stompy at SAC Anime. Just like I'm sure you'll be excited to see these things hung up and on display at SAC Anime. Finally. Kai says, for 3 years of work, I believe it's really cool how it turned out today. Thank you, Kai. The big thing here to remember, Kai, and the other person who was asking, Justin Diaz, that up until like this past month, 100% of all the work that we've done on these packs has happened on the live stream, right? Which means we're working in between talking to you guys, working in between answering questions, and not doing any kind of the work that could get it done quickly off camera. So what that translates to is, even in the beginning, it was only a couple of hours a month that we were working on these, right? We'd work on them for a potential 8 hours a month when we started, and we were doing this weekly, to now a potential 4 to 6 hours a month, because we're doing it every other week. And that's it. That's all the work that's happening on these packs, is that small amount of time. So it feels like 3 years, but I bet if you were to average it out, it's probably pretty close to what a lot of other people would do. Maybe. It still might be more time than normal, because we do spend a lot of time talking to you guys. And I'm not complaining about that, because in my mind, that's really the point of the stream, is a chance to be able to interact with all the viewers and not just sit here and get something built and get something done because, you know, it's time to get something built and time to get something done. I'm gluing into the side of a foam box, so I gotta press on the foam box on the outside, so I don't just mush it. I'll show you guys an after the fact here in a second. I guess I can you can see a lot of fingers, but I've got contact cement that's dried while I've talked to you guys. This is the white wire that's the control wire for the cyclotron lights, and I've got a piece of the 2mm red What the Foam. So this is that heavier duty rubber infused foam. And I'm just contact cementing between the two. I'm sandwiching the wires between the What the Foam and the cyclotron housing. And I'm doing it with contact cement and foam because in time, gaff tape, duct tape will give. So if this was only done for a video shoot, this would totally be just taped in and it'd be fine. Kind of want these packs to last a little longer, so this will last a little longer. And the cable isn't, you know, it's permanent, but it's not permanent. A quick slice with a hobby knife and those will come right out, no big deal. So what I need to do now is get the lights to go into the cyclotron, and I believe we joked about setting these up so one would run one way and the other one would run the other way just to do it. So we numbered them. This is number 1. How do I want to do this part though? Because I had taped these and they had already started falling apart. I could still just tape them. You know, I'm while this is permanent, I'm really tempted to still go ahead and just tape these. This is just 1-inch black gaff tape. So I'm going to put a piece of tape across the back because this is not electrically conductive.
Now I'm visually trying to get the LED array centered-ish on Mr. Pipe. And that's that. I had taken a Sharpie and labeled them, so that was number 1. So now I'll do number 2. I'm going to do number 2 right here in the stream. Yeah, Power Ranger props. Yeah, we want to do some, Justin. We were gearing up to do the Pink Ranger. That's a messed up 3 because that's that's an easy to read number 4. A little bit centered. I don't care if it's not perfect centered, but I want to attempt to be centered as opposed to just stick it in there and who cares, it's in place. Sorry, I'm weird like that. Okay, so I got all those. We got the power switch, which needs to have a place to live. Honestly, we might just stick it here because that's kind of where it wants to go. We've got some good... We have places we could put it. It moves a lot. Yeah, maybe we'll just do that. Okay, I know I've got Lewis watching. I know Bernie Davis is watching. Both of which is Bryce is watching. Good. So I got 3 guys here who are more of the Ghostbuster veterans. I got my power switch, my little just rocker switch for the power button, for the cyclotron lights, and for the hot and cold tube lights. It's got a pretty good mounting throat on it. So what I'm thinking about doing is drilling a hole in the motherboard here on the one that's attached to the pack, so I can mount the switch to it, right? Well, I don't know if this helps any. So it's off center. I'll actually drill a hole in the wood, but kind of put it in this type of a placement. So when the other pack goes on, which we're currently planning on putting a hinge down here, so the pack can just sort of close. As long as there's a bigger hole here that can fit over that power switch, it is then reachable, but out of view. Is that an okay placement for that big rocker power switch, or should it be different? Should I attach it to the side where it's exposed and you could see it? Should it be down? Can I even get down there? Yeah, I could get down here. Should it be down here, where again we could reach it from the side and the switch would just kind of poke out, you know, that way out of the wall, and be kind of just behind this guy, which I'm going to swear a lot putting that in because that's not going to be an easy place for me to put the bolt in. But because we glued this in place, this isn't coming out. But that could go down here. And I'm actually okay with that too. So I got option 1, which has got additional pieces and moving pieces, and then you have this thing sticking up behind your head where hair can catch on it probably. And then option 2, putting it down here where we can kind of get to it. And I'm seeing chat move.
I have the power switch near the ion arm grain tower. Okay. Lewis says I would mount this power switch near your waist where you can easily reach it. Okay. Well, I was just looking at the 10 inches of wire that's on this. I mean, we can rewire this. Thank you, Zingit82. Good to see you back on YouTube. It's good to see comments from you, Zingit. Oh, I'm not on camera. Sorry, guys. That's not bad. Okay. No, on the belt sounds like a good plan, but I think I'm still that's still self-contained, so I shouldn't say that. I don't mind it. I don't mind it being on the pack for now. I don't mind it being on the pack because it was a point in the movie as a joke that switched me on in the elevator, right? So this placement the user would never be able to use while wearing it. This placement, I doubt I'd be able to get to it. I might be able to while wearing it. Okay, good. That's that. Am I going to be able to get this board off of here? Well, I have to try. I think so. I think the board comes off by undoing these two screws, so we can put the... you need to put a battery box in here, too. Something that's going to hold the 9-volt in place so it doesn't rattle around. Switch is red and under the ion arm, but impractical for real-life wear to activate. Is this the ion arm? No, the ion arm is the grain tower switch you set up above, right? Yes, a French cleat would be easier. I think just we got stuck on the idea of having fun with hinges, Lewis. Ion arm grain tower. Oh, it's right there. It's the one right above it. According to the movie, the switch is red and under the ion arm, but it's impractical in real life where it's to use. Which the ion arm is right here. So this is the grain tower, right? This is so the switch is here. Is the switch just right above the blue? It's here. Really? So the switch goes here. According to the movie, right next, this is the iron arm. This is what Chris called the grain tower. We've been calling the grain tower. But you're trying to say that in the movie it goes right here above the blue readout. There's a red switch here. Is that like a lighted rocker switch, or is that just like a little power rocker switch? Or is it the... come here. Or is it this type of toggle switch? I imagine it's this type of toggle switch. Otherwise, I don't see why the inventor of this or the creator of this electronics board would be different. But anyway, I don't know. So does that go there? I don't mind if it's there. Behind the brass wad. Yes. Oh, okay. So it just goes here. Okay. Okay. Sorry I'm not paying attention to the chat, Lewis. Appreciate. I've already got wood there. Yeah, that's the right spot. Oh, nice. I think Ben used a regular light switch with a rounded type dowel glued on and painted it red. Okay.
Well, I'm probably just going to use this switch. Is anyone going to care? I like the idea of it not sticking out the back, because this, if nothing is sticking out the back, this can still happen if it's not attached to the pack. If it's attached to the pack, this won't happen, but whatever. Me getting caught up on things that won't happen in the future. So the random things I've got myself a nice long drill bit. So it's, you know, about that long. Let me hold it up against somewhere that's light colored so you guys might be able to see it. Now it's only threaded towards the top, right? All of this is just plain metal dowel. But so what I want to do with this is I can come from the decorative side, right? Oh, barely. Yeah, I should be able to come from the decorative side and drill a pilot hole so I know where to drill from the inside to be able to mount that toggle switch without, hey, it's called a toggle switch, without running into the brass tube that I've already got in place. Now I've got one that's even longer, but that's a 1/4 inch thick instead of this being like 1/8 of an inch thick, and so I don't want to make too big of a hole. What's going on here? Ah, I see. Thank you. It's your pack, Odin. Have fun. Thanks, Bernie. You're true. Gotcha. Yeah, we'll probably end up being solo busters too, Bernie. I see you guys talking about being a solo buster, so you have to, you don't have a partner to help you remount the neutrino, yeah, the wand, neutrona. You don't have a buddy to help you turn your pack on, but you know, you know what's going to happen? I'll forget to turn it on before I put it on. But I wouldn't have an issue with having it on and running before I actually put the pack on. Oh, I'm putting this away. I can put this away yet. I got to figure out how big of a hole I want to drill for this to happen. And then hopefully I've got a 9-volt battery out here still. I do. It has a little bit of power. That could be stronger. And I got my battery connectors, so I can alligator clip this thing together and get it, hopefully get it glowing again with the switch in place. And then the bits and pieces for the switch are still in here, because this stuff has been scattered a little bit over the past year.
That's the box those came in. You know what I'm not seeing? We took the switches apart. I'll steal it off this one. I'll worry about the future later. They're probably on the table here somewhere. I say that. But I have some junk electronics I can probably pull this off of. Now that I've got the washers and things that I need for this guy to be able to go on, that's a 1/4 inch, isn't it? You know what I don't have that I wish I had? Yeah, those. Well, I got this, so I can do a test. Yep, 1/4 inch is what I want. Good. Okay. Can I even get there from here? Oh, that's gonna be crooked. I can't even get there from here. Okay. Good thing I got another drill bit. This is still 1/4 inch drill bit, right? Yeah, still a 1/4 inch drill bit. But conveniently, this guy is a little bit longer, so I can use it to still go from the front. Probably should just go ahead and do the other one while I'm here. I think one of my favorite things of doing this build is the times when we're starting to do something and you guys that have experience with this start screaming in chat. No, don't do that, you're going to regret it. That's just been some of my favorites. Oh, fun. Now, this is the same. Actually, it's thinner. Okay.
Oh, good. That's right. We did this with floor mat foam, so it's already gray on the inside. Something can't find the hole. This is something I don't want to glue in, that I'd really rather mount the way it's supposed to be mounted, but this is not working easily for me. Seeing the chat move. There we go. Did I get it? Yeah, I got it. Now I need love the lone drill bits. Thank you. Oh wow, Sean is here. Right on. Thanks, Sean. Trying to finish something. That's yeah. That's great. I'm glad to see us. That's the only time. Oh wow. Thank you. You're saying when I pick it up by the end, there's a little bit of flex. That's the only time you can tell it's built with foam. It does have a thin plywood motherboard on it, but thank you, Sean. Right on. We yeah, just talking with effects and movie things about you a little bit yesterday. I thought somebody was turned out it was a different Sean, but I thought somebody was working with you. Oh, cool. Can't have the lollipops finished. Yeah, that wouldn't have enough thing. He's said no drill bit. Whoop! Now I'm trying to get the last turns on the yeah, no, you're not going to see down in here. Right, so I've managed, I had to cut a hole in the floor mat foam because it was 10 millimeters thick, so it was too thick to be able to feed the switch through. So I've only got the switch mounted through the plywood that's on the inside of the foam to give it some body. And so now I'm stuck with reaching down inside and trying to get this put on, which I was doing okay before I moved it to try and show you guys, and then I realized that as I look at the reference monitor, all you see is the back of my hand anyway, so. Yeah, actually I'm almost done too. Come on. I don't know. Grip the nut, spin. No, that's solid. That's good enough. All right. All right. Do 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 do. I need the white guy, white wire to go on here. I don't remember which is which. So I'll get all the instructions here. Red wire, black wire. Okay, so red to red. Red wire, black wire. Okay. Red wire, black wire. Battery. Still not really attached, it's just going to fall out, but trying to get an angle so you can see it, right? There we are. Okay, so 4 cut. Now I got my power switch up here. Oh, that makes me happy. Now, you guys had told me in the past that some of the packs are clockwise spinning, some of the packs are anti-clockwise spinning. So I put this one in to go this way, which I guess is technically anti-clockwise, right? But I've got a power switch mounted. It's on the outside of the pack. I'm totally fine with where it's at. It's agreeable now. And yeah. So what did we do today? We got some lights put into the packs. I've got the secondary motherboard attached to the Alice frame. I'll need to get some new hardware so these aren't quite where your back is. Because, yeah, I could see the concern of that touching. I don't think it will, but you guys know more than I do. There's other things I can do too that might work. I might be able to put some elevator bolts in here instead. So next time we're gonna need to put the hinge on and put the snap closure on and figure out how we're going to attach the neutrino one. We are close to having a finished Proton Pack, which is very, very cool. This has been a really long time coming, but it's been a lot of fun. And it's cool that for the first time in a little while, I get to flick the switch to see the lights light up. That still makes me very happy. Sean, I'm super excited you dropped into the last minute. I really appreciate Lewis and Bernie and Bryce, because you guys are all here, who's been huge voices of authority and reference for me. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. I know I've gone a little long, but I started a little late, so it's still about a 3-hour stream. Yeah, Summer Heat's a beast. Yeah, thank you, MB Dice. It definitely doesn't look like foam. Great sculpt and paint job. Thank you. Bernie likes how it's looking. Yes. Anti-clockwise? Yeah, counterclockwise, anti-clockwise, both work, right? Sound? So what we're going to do for sound, we're doing simple on sound. There is a Bluetooth Bitty Boomer that we've got that I've got one, or specifically Shop Gremlin has one that looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and it's just made to be able to put into your tree or put on the mantle for Christmas time as a place of having Christmas carols appear from somewhere. We've already tested that little, it's about the size of a golf ball. That little bitty boomer sounds just fine inside one of the hollows of the pack. That the square boxes of the pack end up working like an acoustic box of a guitar and makes it sound a little bit bigger. So that's where we're going to get our sounds from for right now. We're just going to put a bitty boomer inside and it'll run off of our phones or something else. Greg Glover is here. Hello! And yeah, Ralph's V-hooks are definitely what we're going to use for how to attach the wands to this. And I'm really glad we went with the aluminum cast V-hooks, because we've upgraded from what we've built to legit HasLab wands. So we want a good positive connection to be able to fit on the pack, and we're going to have that with Ralph's V-hooks, which is nice. Ghostbusters is back in business. Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, Grayler was the start of this project 3 years ago. Yeah, it's been a bit. Are you pro or anti-clockwise? Exactly. Bernie has a bitty boom speaker that looks like the Ecto 1. That's cool. Yes, Dan, I'm also anti-clockwise. Time does seem to move too fast. Awesome. So, yeah. 2 weeks from today is the next planned live stream with Felicia. I will do my absolute best to make sure that I've got contact with her and that she knows that it's coming up, so she'll be able to show up and hang out with you guys. I totally appreciate having someone else here to be able to man the chat and see that you guys are making comments. It works a lot better for me. I don't mind. I enjoy doing this solo, and I'm probably going to do more Patreon-only solo live streams where I'm working on other things. And at this point in time, I think my plan is to do that as a way of getting projects started and going for what will end up being a produced video. So this format moving forward, since I'm really used to it and like it, it's probably going to be what I'm doing. But a produced final video won't have the fan interaction, because that's not the point. So if you want to be able to see more of these weird little live streams, most will be happening later in the day, California time, keep that in mind, then please check out patreon.com/Odin Makes. And if you get in at the Discord level, you'll be able to see when these random streams are going to come up. I might give you guys some warning, but when these random streams come up are when I'm going to start working on other projects. And I know there's going to be another one coming up where I'm going to do a little more figuring out how some of this stuff is going to go together. So the next live stream with Felicia, it can just get done instead of, okay, we got the hinges. How are we going to make this work? No, I want to get that figured out beforehand. So it becomes this, okay, we've got the hinges. This is how we did it. We're going to assemble this one and get the other one ready to go. That type of a thing, because that worked a lot better this time. So yeah, please. Also, everyone who does support me on Patreon and on Discord, you guys are great. I really appreciate it. And as Schultz loves to say, remember, kids, to hit that like button and smash the subscribe button, because that all really helps me too. I really appreciate you guys going on this multi-year journey with me for making a Proton Pack, with us going overboard on time on getting it done, but we got something going. If any of you are going to be in the Sacramento area, Northern California area, the end of this month of August is SAC Anime, and that's going to be the final weekend of August. It'll be the 29th, 30th, and 31st, I believe, are the actual calendar days. It's that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the last 3 of August. Felicia and I are going to have the packs as done as we can get them done, hopefully done, and going to take them to the con because they'll be finished, and so they'll be able to be on display at the con. We still have the rest of the outfits to do. We still have the rest of the outfits to kit out. Don't intend on having that done in time for SAC Anime, but it is something we want to do. And what's going to happen when the pack is done? We're going to start working on something else, at least temporarily, because I think we need to take a small break from Ghostbusters. I've already thrown out a very elaborate idea. Probably won't do that one because that's going to be another long project, but we'll do something else for sure. So that's SAC Anime. Coming up in almost the last weekend, I think it's the second to last weekend of September. So only 3 weeks after SAC Anime is Kaboom Con, whose theme is Ghostbusters 2. So I'm glad I got these done. And for Kaboom Con, I want to be doing a Google demo. Goggle demo. So I want to make the Ecto goggles, and I'm going to be making a set out of foam. And I've already started working on some of the pieces for that project for getting it done, but I need to get more. I need to get it done and ready, because it's a live demo for something that'll take longer than an hour to an hour and a half. So I need to have stages of the project finished. So like here, where we talk about, we do it this way, we paint that, and when you got that done, you're up to this stage, and you bring out the next box that got the next stage in it, and you start working your way through it. Because that's the only way that demo is going to work. But the work will actually happen, right? It's just it won't all happen. So I'll be doing a live demo at KaboomCon. That's going to be a 2-day con in Carson City, Nevada. And that's the third week in September. And those are the next 2 scheduled conventions that I'll be making an appearance at. And it happened to work out that KaboomCon is happening the same weekend that CrockerCon is happening here in Sacramento. CrockerCon I've been going to for a number of years. It's been a Thursday night con, but they moved it. And they decided they're going to do it all day on Sunday, which is awesome. But that's the Sunday of KaboomCon, so I can't be at both. I've already committed to KaboomCon, who's basically paying me to go out there. They're paying all my travel costs, and they're paying for a hotel for me to stay in, which is awesome. So unfortunately, I will not be at CrockerCon. However, Felicia might be at CrockerCon. So you might still get a chance to see one of us. And if that's the case, then the Proton Packs will probably be split up, and I'll just take my pack to KaboomCon, and Felicia will take her pack to CrockerCon. But we'll figure that out when that comes up. That's still 7 weeks away. That feels like a year and a half or a lifetime to an ADHD person like me. Thank you all for tuning in. This is a long time saying goodbye. Hagrid photo. Jerry Props is working on that. Full body thing costume. Yeah, that'd be great. not opposed to that. Yeah. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for listening to just me and not having the beautiful Felicia here with me. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll probably be back next weekend doing a Patreon-only stream. So thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you again soon. I still don't know how to end a stream, right? How do you say good night? How do you say goodbye? What's the sign-off? Oh, I know. There's lots of different ways you could fumble your way through saying good night and goodbye to everybody, all of your friends on the internet. Still making it long-winded, but this is how Odin makes. But this is how Odin doesn't shut up.